All right, so welcome to a special episode of Power of Bourbon, but a normal episode of Cocktail or Neat.
A little crossover event here.
Yeah, so hopefully we've got sound and people can hear us. But yeah, we will see how this all works.
First time doing a live stream, so I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because honestly, when we do our takes, like we do it, you don't really edit it too much.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing there's an option to edit is kind of nice.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Yep. It's just going to be live and we'll see what happens. And we turned off the AC, so we didn't get any background noise. So we might just like start sweating profusely.
There may be a crying baby in the background from the monitor, but she's been sleeping pretty well lately.
Yep. So tonight, because Chuck is busy in other business stuff that he has to do all around, he's not here. And then Brian, we got an episode coming up here explaining what happened to Brian. He's still alive, which is good, but he's a little busy, and we got some things coming up to share that. So we've got a couple bottles that I bought. Big surprise! I got some new bourbon. Who would have thought? And so we're gonna try them out. So the first one we've got tonight on this thing is brand new from Discovery or from Bardstown Bourbon Company, which is Fusion number 5.
Number 5, all the way up to number 5.
Yep. So if you guys have not had any Bardstown, I highly recommend it. It is some great stuff. Bardstown is doing some really cool stuff with collaborations, with other stuff, with people. And the Fusion series is their product. So this is a mix of a 4-year, a 3-year, and then an 11-year. The 11-year is obviously not theirs, but the other two are. And as it gets older and older, they're going to continually to have more of their stuff. It looks like they're going to release their own product completely in a bottle that's just theirs when all their stuff hits about 7 years, is what I think they said.
But they've been aging their own stuff in rick houses.
Yes.
Right. So. Well, we got to go there the other day for a little celebration.
Yep.
We called it a celebration. Even though it wasn't on the day of our anniversary, we still counted it as an anniversary celebration.
Yeah.
Had some brunch. It wasn't really brunch. It was lunch.
Yeah.
It was a lunch date. You know, while Violet's going to daycare, we can run around and do whatever we want. So we drove to Bardstown. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah. We drove down there. They've got a great restaurant, a lot of fun. I was able to pick up Discovery number 5 for Chuck because he can't go without having every version of the Discovery series. And then for me, I got Fusion number 5 here because I've got all the Fusion series. And if you've never been to Bardstown, they've got a vintage bourbon library, which is really cool. So I finally, since it was our anniversary, I got to treat myself a little bit. I got to have the Old Crow Chessman pour, which was amazing.
It was. I even got a little sample. Wasn't that nice of him to share? And I was very impressed. I said, whoa, this is worth it. You know, good choice. It was like our way of celebrating. Instead of champagne, you can have a pour of this vintage bourbon. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
When previously we reviewed the what was it? Pfeiffer, not Pfeiffer.
Yeah, the Pfeiffer Pavitt XO.
XO, that's right.
Yeah, which was their first single barrel pour or a bottle pour you could do at the distillery, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the Fusion 5, I think, is probably the best of all the Fusions. So the early ones, 1 and 2, was definitely very young, had some green notes in it. You could just tell it was really young stuff. This one is really good. It's doesn't have a lot of the grain forward notes. It's very caramel and vanilla is starting to come out.
Sugary, yeah, caramel.
Yeah, which you get with the older bourbon. So with the 4-year being in there, so they're getting there. And then there's no harsh note
or ethanol. So smooth.
Yep,
that is so smooth.
Yeah, this one's great. If this is the way things continue with their stuff, that 7-year-old, 6-year-old is going to be off the shelf instantly.
Grabbing more of those aged flavor notes in there. Yeah, it's good.
But yeah, it's super smooth. I think a little more time in the barrel will give it more complexity. It's got the sweet notes, it's got the vanilla notes, but it doesn't have any of the barrel spice or the spices that come with age in the barrel. So I think it's getting to that time where it flips over and changes, which will be exciting. It definitely has a lot of promise, and it shows that give it a little bit more time in the barrel, and it's going to be some really, really good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty simple right now, so I might want to put it in a cocktail. Would you yell at me for that?
No.
Sorry, Chuck.
I think this would be okay in a cocktail. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, continuing to drink it neat. There's really not a whole lot going on. So,
yeah, you basically get the vanilla, the caramel, a little bit of burnt brown sugar, and then that's about it. There's not really much of a finish.
No.
At all. It just kind of disappears.
But it is really good. So it's one of those where this good ingredient is going to make a really good cocktail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something bourbon forward. So, you get that nice smoothness, and that's really all that's there, and just a few other things.
Yeah,
so
very true.
Don't hate me. But this is probably what they use in their old fashions, right? That barrel aged old fashioned that we had.
I would imagine that's their product, which is really good. Yeah. So that's another thing. If you go to Bardstown Bourbon Company, they have barrel aged old fashions and barrel aged Manhattans. I think it is the other one. So and they have it to go, so you can get a nice little container and take it with you. But what they do is with some of their bourbon, they leave it in, or they make the cocktail and then they put it back in a barrel, and then they they vat it for a while, let it age and everything like that. And then they pour it into a stainless steel drum to sit. And then as they need it on the bar, they just pour a whole bunch, and then there you go. And it is some really good barrel aged old fashions.
They're very good.
I have one every time I go.
Well, yeah, it's kind of standard. It's still just like lingering caramel for me.
Yeah.
Like I want it to be more with each sip.
Yeah.
And I keep reevaluating. Is there anything else that I'm tasting? Nope. Just caramel.
Yeah, but this is one that'd get you in trouble, because since there's no burn or anything like that, you could just sit there and just drink this and drink it and drink it.
Yeah.
And be on the floor very quick.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a good one. Again, it keeps getting me really excited for where Bardstown's going with their product. I think it's just going to keep getting better and better.
Now, was this one that you got while we were there, or did you sneak that in somewhere else?
No, I got it when we were there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you got a bourbon while we were there, of course.
Yeah.
But I didn't remember if it was that one.
You can't go to a distillery and not buy a bourbon. That's just, you have to support local business.
Now, didn't we walk away from one? Because after going to Bardstown Bourbon Company, we did hop over to Heaven Hill.
Yep. Yeah, so we went over to Heaven Hill.
Without anything.
Yeah, and if you get a chance to go to Heaven Hill, they just doubled their visitor center. And added a museum section to it,
cool.
which is, yeah, absolutely amazing. It talks about the fire with Heaven Hill, where they lost a whole bunch of warehouses and a whole bunch of product, and just the history of that, and how the Shapiro brothers, there's 5 of them, after the fires, they did not lay a single person off. It didn't matter if you had to mop floors or what, they were going to make sure that you still had a job. And so this expansion shows all that stuff, talks about how they got the larceny line, how they got the old Fitz line, everything like that. So it's really cool. And then there's they added a bar up above called the Five Brothers Bar and Lounge, I think it is. That they in the future will open up to a restaurant. So then you'll be able to get food there. So now you'll have like 3 places to get food in Bardstown, which is Bardstown Bourbon Company, Heaven Hill, and then Mammy's, I think is the name of the restaurant that is famous because all the distillers go there and everything like that. But yeah, and so the really cool thing that they're going to start doing, which I don't want to tell you about because then other people coming in will do it and then I won't be able to, but I'm nice, so I will, is a pour your own bottle experience. So they are going to, for $40, you get to go and do this. And what it is they will have barrel proof Elijah Craig, barrel proof Larceny, barrel proof Bernheim wheat, and then a barrel proof surprise. For the $40, you get to try all 4. And then if you want to pay whatever the cost of the bottle is on top of it, then you can pour your own bourbon straight from the tank, cap it, everything like that, sign it, all the fun stuff. But yeah, that's the only place I know that you'll ever be able to get Bernheim wheat that is barrel strength. Yeah. The Elijah Craig barrel strength, people are going to start doing store picks and things like that. So that's going to be a little more common. But that I'm guessing will be picked from their master distillers, so probably some of their best stuff. And then, I mean, Larceny barrel proof, I'm just meh on. If it's your thing, it's there. And then whatever that 4th one is, that is a Heaven Hill only exclusive that you can get there, which would be really cool to have. So I would recommend if you like, it's not live yet. They're talking about it being live maybe beginning to mid-July. And they're already expecting it to book out 3-4 months in advance. And I mean, good luck. Yeah, good luck getting it. But if you do get it, I would recommend, going with like a group of 4, like you and 3 people that don't like bourbon. That way you can get all 4 bottles. Or, taking your wife and she can pick a bottle and then you can pick a bottle. That way you get 2 of the 4. Yeah. So, because they're all going to be great bottles, I'm sure. I'm sure they will. So, yeah. All right. What's next? All right. So the next thing we're going to taste tonight is one of the advantages to living in Kentucky, besides what people think, which is we have bourbon everywhere, which we really don't, because everybody knows about bourbon. And so it stays on the shelf. Keeps getting shipped out everywhere. Yeah. And then when something like Henry McKenna hits, it's gone in 5 minutes. It doesn't matter what it is. But the cool thing is some of these distilleries have started I guess box memberships type thing. So Maker's, all the subscription things. Yeah. So Maker's Mark has a subscription service. Box. Yeah, exactly. It has the best subscription service ever, which is the Whiskey Drop. So I pay them and then they ship limited edition bourbon to my house, which I mean is great. So coming up here in September, they're going to do FAE 01 and FAE 02 to my house. So that's going to be amazing. But this one, what they did is, if you're not aware of Maker's Mark, they use staves, and they use 10 different staves in their flavor profile to get you different flavors and everything like that. So that's why if you do your own pick at Maker's Mark, there's like 1,001 combinations you can do of different flavors. Jeez. Which is a lot. Yeah. So one of the flavor profiles or staves is the mocha stave. The mocha stave is now retired. It is gone. This is it? Yeah. So this is it. So this is one of the last ones. And what they decided to do is we got this guy here, which is melted mocha is what they called it. And it has 2 seared French cuvee, 2 Maker's Mark 46, and 6 roasted French mocha staves. Okay. And then what they wanted to do is show their new stave, which is replacing the mocha, which is roasted French Medinant. I have no idea how to say that word. Let me see. And so what they did is they took
Mendiant. I don't know.
Mendiant. We'll
Is
go
that
with
French?
that. Yeah.
Mendiant?
If somebody knows exactly how to say it, good luck. Let us know in the chat, but I have no idea. And so what they decided to do is showcase how those 6 staves being swapped out affect the taste of the bourbon. Right. So again, it's just giving validity to their idea of how aging with the staves works and how it does affect the bourbon, which I've had some really good Maker's Marks. FAE01 is one of my favorites, and a Distiller Select that we got part of Maker's Mark whiskey drop was really, really good. So
slide this one up here. Keep track of which one we're having.
Yes. We'll start with the guys getting retired, the melted mocha.
Melted mocha?
Yeah, so these are the mocha staves.
Okay. The melted mocha. I mean, it sounds delicious. I don't know how much mocha flavor might actually be in there, but yeah, I've been like pleasantly impressed with these Maker's Mark products that you've been getting.
What's prescription say? Curious to know. Okay. So prescription, we were talking about that a little bit earlier. That is from Bardstown Bourbon Company. So we went down there for our anniversary, and every old fashioned, so they do their barrel aged old fashions that are just absolutely amazing. If you haven't had one, go. And they stamp all their ice cubes with their B, which is pretty cool.
It was neat.
Yeah.
Melted mocha.
I get like,
there is a hint of mocha going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty nice. Why'd they have to retire the mocha stave?
I don't know.
This other one better be like amazing, way better.
Because that's what the new.
Yeah, that's the new one. This is the old one that got retired.
So are these aren't related to FAE01? That's something different.
Yeah. Oh, you're good. We're just happy you're here, and we gotta hit up and email each other and figure out a time to meet up and do a live stream with you too. It'd be fun.
There is like a bitter chocolate note here. It's really good. Again, it's very smooth, similar to the Bardstown.
Yes. Well, so because the Maker's is a wheated bourbon, so that's why you're going to get more of the sweet, smooth notes, because it's not going to have that high rye finish on it.
Okay. So that makes sense. Yeah. What do you think?
I like it. I think it's great. I think this is one of those bottles that should just stay on the shelf and not go to friends.
Yeah. I'm getting even more mocha coming from this. All right. Melted mocha. There you go. So can people get this, or can it only come in your bark box?
It can only come in the bark box. You might be able to find a couple mocha profiles still out there and about, because people did single barrels, and Maker's Mark, a single barrel bottle is about $80, so they don't go as quick. And for some reason, and we've talked about this on the channel with the guys before, people don't buy Makers. They're like scared of it for some reason.
I can see that.
And so, so this stuff sits pretty well, and you could probably find a mocha barrel selection if you look around. But they're definitely pushing the new one. So Westport Whiskey and Wine, which is a local place, it's for us in Louisville that does a lot of picks and really good picks, has, I think, 2 of the new ones out. And they've been saying, like, this is the first barrel you can get in Louisville and things like that.
I'm so impressed with it. So I don't know if you mentioned this. Can it ship outside of Kentucky, though?
Kentucky and DC, I think, is it.
Really?
Yes. And they only open it. It's like, so Four Roses, it's not a box subscription, but at the first day, I think it is at like noon-ish of every quarter, they Four Roses opens the Mellow Moments Club for like 30 seconds. And if you get in, you get part of it. And so,
30 seconds.
Maker's Mark is similar with the whiskey drop, where it's open for only a select period of time. And if you get in, you get in. Otherwise, you just get put on the wait list. And I think they email you like, it's open. Good luck. Hopefully you can get in. So
this is, I'm just thinking, cocktail or neat. don't think I'd put this in a cocktail. I think I would drink it neat. But how would you feel if I blended it with the winter whiskey from New Riff?
Ooh, that could be interesting.
Because it has some similar things. I can't remember if that one was more chocolatey. Maybe it was. And there's some of the chocolate here. I don't know. It might be an interesting blend together.
Yeah. So now, I don't know if he's watching, but I do know he watches the videos, and so we can call him out.
Who?
Mark said this was too high proof for him.
This? What is it? 108?
Yeah. So does it just burn too much?
No.
Or? Okay. Anytime my wife can call out one of our friends.
I would have said this is a lower proof. If you had me guess, like if I didn't know, I would probably say like 98. Not 108. From London.
Oh, hey, James, how's it going? I like from London. That's pretty cool. So ask a question on Kentucky craft bourbon called MB Rollin'. So I've had MB Rollin' before. What's it say? If a 78% white corn, 17% rye, and 5% has a funk note. So MB Rollin' does a couple really cool stuff. I have not had their regular one. But they have one that is, it's something fire, dark fire.
I don't know.
It was at Westport just did, which means nothing to you, but our local liquor store that does a lot of store picks, and that's where I go, and they have a tasting bar. Did one dark fire. That's what it was, I think. And so what they did is the corn is half of the corn is burnt or smoked beforehand, and then they put it in the mash. And so it's really cool because you get all the smoke notes that you get on like a Lagavulin or something like that, but none of the peat notes. So I know a lot of people here in Kentucky, because we're not as sophisticated as you people across the pond, that drink scotch all the time. And like the peat note, I know a lot of my friends, Chuck is one of them, that really hates the peat note, but it has some smoke that's really, really good. So I don't know if that's the one you're talking about, but I do know just the regular white corn will give it a little bit of a different flavor profile than just the regular yellow corn does. But MB Rollin' is doing some pretty cool stuff. And if you can pick up a bottle, it's really good. They also, funny enough, they have I don't know if you can find it still, a hemp infused one. So they did it, they put hemp seeds in the mash and infused it with hemp, which is crazy. So they're always trying to do new and cool stuff over there. And the other thing with them is they do it, they get the grain. I think they might do the grain themselves, or it's very, very local. So everything is right there with them over in Western Kentucky. So they're one of the distilleries far west away from all of us. But yeah, they've got a lot of good reviews and some pretty cool stuff.
Neat.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
I do not. I almost bought that dark fire one, but I don't want to be in the doghouse for spending too much money on bourbon.
Is that one expensive?
No, it's 60, but I've spent a lot of money in bourbon.
Yeah, he does have a budget. So, and by the way, I bought him bourbon the other day, which normally doesn't happen. But went to the winery. Are we going to share? I mean, yeah, people probably know about Starlight Distillery in Indiana at this point, because it's gotten a couple of awards now, right?
It's
the Ascot.
Yeah, the Ascot. Yep.
It was talked about on someone else's channel the other day.
Yep.
So word is out now. Anyway, Starlight is 40 minutes away from us, but I go more for the winery, and I'm part of the wine club. But when you get a discount on a case, you can do wine and bourbon. You do wine and spirits. So I made a case with a mix, almost 50-50, not quite. I got him 3 bottles.
Yep.
So, but they have brandy up there too. So I got the Applejack brandy.
Yes.
So that was kind of the kind of new thing, because the other one was the rye and the
So
bourbon.
Yeah, she got me a single barrel bourbon, which was 5 years bonded and bond.
Yeah.
Which
there was a single barrel.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right, but it's also bonded. And then a single barrel orphan barrel rye that is really good. So they're right out of Southern Indiana,
Right.
and they're doing some pretty cool stuff. Actually, eventually when we get towards the end of the year, towards best bourbon of the year, as it sits right now, I have a special bottle from Starlight that was finished in Cuban or Brazilian cigar barrels, which I didn't know cigars were in barrels. Like, yeah, I drink bourbon, but I don't smoke, so I don't know much about cigars. And it is by far the best bourbon I've had so far this year. Probably top 3 all time.
Nobody wants it. No, don't try to get it. It's terrible. He let me try it. It's so special.
It's the first.
It's really special.
It's the first bottle of bourbon. My wife is like,
I immediately said, put it on the top shelf.
Yeah, you don't share with family.
I did. It was very good. That was surprising. There's a couple more comments there.
So I don't know if they actually grow their own hemp or not. If everything they say, which is everything is like basically, farm to grain, then I would imagine they grew a little bit of hemp. I know it's legal in Kentucky to grow hemp. You just have to be careful with it. U of L and UK actually grow hemp farms. Because we do stuff with those universities every now and then, and we get put on tours all the time. And they were actually saying at U of L they have to have security for their hemp farms because big surprise, people go after it even though it's hemp. So so they're doing some cool research and everything like that. It's used to make clothes and rope and everything like that. I
would say it's a big Kentucky thing.
Kentucky,
from what I understand.
It's becoming one of the biggest crops in Kentucky as tobacco falls because it's becoming less and less popular, and vaping's more and more popular and things like that. Hemp is gonna take over. That's why a lot of people are pushing for marijuana to be legalized in Kentucky, is because we have a good climate and everything to build to grow it. So
so this is the Rich Mendiant. Maybe, if I'm saying that right.
Nose is nowhere near as good.
No, I cannot smell a whole lot.
It's more of the barrel spice. It's maybe a little bit of almonds or nutmeg on there.
Yeah,
is what I would go with.
I can see almond. Yeah.
Picked up a bottle of bourbon finished in the
apple brandy cask.
Starlight did it finished in apple brandy cask prescription. Because if they did and I missed this, I'm going to cry, because any bourbon finished in apple brandy casks is amazing.
I'm sure it was gone within an hour. Yeah, it makes me think of almond extract. Like once you said that, it's like, oh yeah. And honestly, like female perspective, like lotions have some almond in them sometimes.
Oh man,
that's what it makes you think of.
When was that? Was that a while ago that they released that and we just missed out? Because again, Starlight is gonna.
Like you were just there to pick up the cigar one, and then I was just there, and I got like all the good stuff. Seriously.
Since I know Prescription's local and everything like that, they're releasing 3 new barrels to Saturday. So if you're not part of their Facebook page, join that. And they got some pretty cool ones. Did you tell me? No, I did not.
What is it?
Well, we're going to your in-laws, so we don't have time to stop over there.
Okay. I just bought you 3 bottles, so
we're going to my in-laws, your parents' house. That's what it is.
Yeah. We could probably hold off. This is
I don't like it as much. I like the melted mocha.
Oh yeah, the melted mocha is really good.
I mean,
I don't know what to think about this.
This has got a lot more. So the melted mocha is what I like, which is all chocolate, caramel, vanilla. Like it's a dessert, like in a bottle, and it's delicious. This is much more of your rye notes, your spice notes. Like I think there's some nutmeg in there.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking baking spice. I mean, it again, like almond extract and even like vanilla extract. Is what I'm, coming to mind. Yeah. It doesn't taste like a bourbon.
No, it tastes more like a a whiskey, I would say, like a rye whiskey. It's not like a true rye. It's weird. It's like it's a bourbon that goes into a rye.
Yeah.
So, okay, Entry Proof Podcast did a pick. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully they release one of those to the public and not just a pick.
They'll just brag about it on the internet, make everybody sad they can't be a part of it.
Yeah, and probably when we're on vacation. But gosh, dang it.
Yeah. We are vacationing in Indiana.
Yeah. I'm hoping to find a Russell's 13 while we're there, but we'll see.
So I do want to just story share time with the Maker's Mark, because you had mentioned that like not many people are super interested in Maker's Mark.
Yeah.
And I think it's because you think of it as more of like a mixing drink. You're going to use it like not even for cocktails. I mean like mixing.
Right.
You know. And when we got married, because, you know, thinking about our anniversary again. So we got married 6 years ago. If you can believe it, 6 years ago, this guy was not into bourbon at all. And so at our wedding, which was in Kentucky, when we made our bar, we only included Maker's Mark. That was the only bourbon that was available. So looking back on it, if we could change things about our wedding, we would have a, you know, wonderful supply of great bourbon. But it's kind of funny when we reflect back and think we only had Maker's Mark available and just the standard. And it was the giant bottles, right?
Yeah.
Like from like Costco or something.
Well, and so we got married in a dry county, so we had to bring it in. And us, well, we're again, like we've said multiple times, we're teachers, so we're broke, we're poor people. And to save money, I brewed all the beer for the wedding. So I think it came out to be like 5,000 or 6,000 bottles.
It was a lot.
That is the last time I've ever brewed beer.
That's true.
Because when
he burned himself out.
Yeah. When you hand wash 5,000 bottles of beer, it is terrible. And so I've never done that again. Yeah. And switched to bourbon. So, but yeah.
Can you imagine? How would you stock the bar now? If let's say we got married now.
I already told you what we do. We would have our wedding at Hubert's, and we would get a barrel. And the party favor for everyone that came to the wedding is they get a bottle of bourbon. And
a whole bottle. Here you go.
And if they don't want it, they can give it back to me, and then I can just stock my own bar. Like,
and we gonna have our own labels printed on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or no, what'd you call it? A tater sticker?
Yeah, we'd put a tater sticker on it.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it would be great. I highly recommend if you're going to do that for your wedding, please invite me. I'll bring a good gift.
All right. Yeah, well, too bad that this one's kind of, I mean, it's so-so. I wouldn't really choose to drink it.
I can see why they're switching though. Like our flavor profile, melted mocha definitely is the one because it's super creamy, all those wonderful dessert notes. The rich median, or however you say it, is
Mendiant.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Is very much like a spicy rye-ish bourbon.
It's all this baking stuff.
Yeah, has.
Like I'm gonna pour it into a bourbon cake or something.
Yeah, I mean, there you go.
Make an icing out of it and put it on a cake. That's what it makes me think of. I don't know. It's okay.
Yeah.
Maybe for other people, based on what your flavor profile preference is.
Yeah.
You might be really into it, but
I mean, it's still good. I would definitely take it over some of the other things I've had, but it's
still smooth.
Yes.
And there's flavors there.
Yeah, and
there's some stuff going on.
It's still one of those which I don't understand, which is, and again, I don't get it. Going back to the wedding thing about how Maker's was like the cocktail mixer. I don't understand nationally why if you put Maker's and Woodford next to each other, everybody thinks Woodford is the elegant, classy bottle, and Maker's is
People think that?
Yes. Like when you fly or you go anywhere other than Kentucky and you've got like a bourbon bar and you're like, I want your top end pour. They're like, oh, you want Woodford. And it's like, no, Maker's is better than Woodford. Like
Yeah.
Woodford
Like-
should be the mixer and everything like that.
Yeah, Woodford is the thing that they keep in stock at Churchill because they pour it all in all the mint juleps there.
Well, but that's why
that
people
they're serving at the track.
thinks Woodford is like the high tier because it's the Derby, and the
Yeah,
Derby
but
is
people
fancy,
don't-
elegant people.
I know. Yeah.
So
Disclaimer, the Derby may look fancy on the outside, but it's really not fancy. It's still a horse betting track.
Yep. And if you go to the infield, you're gonna have a great time, but don't dress super fancy.
No, get your boots. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
I mean, it's still good. That's the final bottle over there. I'm still kind of enjoying this one.
Okay.
You can grab it. We can talk about it.
This Pursuit bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Did I tell you I saw? I think I did. I think I told you I saw another Pursuit bottle, but you said it was one you already had.
Might be. Yes, they do have amazing advertising. Like that is what they go with.
Yeah.
And that's why like everybody thinks Woodford is just the best thing ever. So the next pour, maybe the last pour, I don't know, I'll probably talk her into drinking some other things, which is great, is the brand new Pursuit series I got. So the Pursuit, if you guys don't know, so another podcast out there, really the podcast when it comes to bourbon, and what got me into bourbon is Bourbon Pursuit podcast. The Kenny and Ryan, they've for a while now done their own single barrel picks that they do through the sourcing market, and they do they get to taste a whole bunch of stuff, and then they bring them out as their own label, which is the Pursuit series. Recently here, they've started their own blend, which is actually really good. And I have on the shelf back there called Pursuit United, which is going to come out here in July. And no, they don't pay me. I wish they did. But they are releasing Pursuit United on Seal Box. And if you can pick up a bottle of that, this stuff is amazing stuff. But this guy here, they just released, I was able to get it. It's episode 41, and it is the first rye they've released in a long time. Yeah, so
it's a straight rye whiskey.
Yep. And so it's actually from Finger Lakes, which is up in New York.
Oh.
And so it is a 5-year-old rye from them that we'll see how it is.
Okay.
So, I mean, I trust Kenny and Ryan. Everything they've picked is delicious. I've been lucky and I got to do a pick with them. I got to pick a Driftless Glen, rye, and bourbon. That was really good.
Yeah, you like had all the samples and then you picked one.
Did a StreamYard with them and it was pretty cool. Yeah.
All right. So rye. Sometimes I lean towards the rye because I like the spice.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Ooh, the nose is nice.
Yeah.
I'm getting like apple on the nose.
Apple, some definitely
like Granny
hay
Smith
grass
apple.
notes.
I don't have as much as that, but like earthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. That is so good. Oh my gosh. Glad you all got to see that reaction.
Yeah,
live.
it's a good one.
What is that? That is apple. So there's so much of that Granny Smith apple going on. The mouthfeel was really different.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like this weird viscosity where it was like thicker syrup.
Mm-hmm.
Which made it really good. It was like having like an apple flavored syrup.
Thanks, James. So another story I can tell, which is great. So we started last year, actually. I got her to agree with it. I don't know how I got so lucky. But what we do now is for our anniversary, whatever year anniversary it is, I buy a bourbon that is that old. So like definitely going to keep her around. So eventually I age out a bourbon and I have to go to Scotch and we'll be having to get like 35-year-old, 40-year-old Scotch, which will be incredibly expensive. Yeah. But you know,
can we get pours and not a bottle?
Nope. It's got to be a bottle. That was the agreement.
Oh my gosh.
So
but then what do you do after the anniversary? You just have a
awesome bottle.
35-year-old.
Well, when we hit our like 50th anniversary, we have to drink from every previous bottle.
Oh, this is a new thing he just made up. So, I didn't know about that one.
So last year for our 5-year anniversary, we did Woodinville. And then this year for the 6th year, I was able to get a bottle of the brand new Riff malted rye, which if you can find, pick it up. It's really good. It's going to be part of their everyday lineup. So it's just going to be hard this first go around to get, just because they didn't age a whole bunch of the bottles. But it is really, really good. Fred Minnick did a review on it too. And his way of saying it was, if you aren't a whiskey drinker, don't drink it because it's very complex, very, very good. And you won't appreciate everything that goes with it. But yeah, it's delicious.
It was very good.
Yeah. So it is the date. We each have a dram, and it's great. And then actually we have up on the shelf up there, kind of on our high shelf, our top shelf, we have a bottle of New Riff that her parents bought us when our daughter was born. So every year for her birthday, we pop that bottle open and pour it. And then of course I have, because I had to buy into the hype, I have a Blanton's with her birth date on it that I will give her when she turns 21, and hopefully she'll share a pour with me.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure she will. Some other notes that are coming out now, honey, which is also making this delicious. Maybe that's the viscosity. It's like a honey viscosity.
Yeah.
Like honey apple. It's so good. You all, it's really good.
So this is episode 41, which is a rye, which I got. Episode 44 is a 6-year-old bourbon, or no, a 7-year-old bourbon from the same place that Chuck has. And we get to see him over New Year or over 4th of July, so which means
bringing it, right?
Oh, it's right down there.
Oh yeah, because you picked him.
Yeah.
In case you all don't know, back to the Power of Bourbon channel, Chuck has a personal shopper. This guy. Wouldn't you like that to be your full-time job?
Oh yeah,
just bourbon hunting for Chuck.
That would be great. I mean, I do spend so
that's your summer job for sure.
Oh, it is definitely my summer job. So Chuck and I, because we're super nerds. So Chuck, for those of you that haven't watched the channel a bunch, he is a VP of a sweet corn breeding company. And so he does a lot of spreadsheet and data analysis, and I'm an engineer and an engineering teacher. So I do the same thing. So we have all of our bottles of bourbon in a spreadsheet with their mash bills, cost, where we bought it from, everything like that. And so like my number one expense is Total Wine. I think number 2 is like Liquor Barn or something like that. Chuck's number 1, I think, is Benny's. His number 2 is me.
I like that he keeps track of it that way too.
Yes.
Like from TJ. Yeah.
Yeah, I just basically call him up like, hey, so I found this. Do you want it? Yes.
Sometimes he gets mad at him for even asking. He's like insulted. Why did you ask? You should have just bought that.
Yeah, I'm like, it's a $200 bottle. Just buy it.
I'm just checking. It's your money. No, I'm at work. Don't bother me. Just buy it. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, this is really, really good.
I'm getting the hay note on the nose now that you mentioned. This is that's so good.
Yeah.
I know y'all get to see me rave about it. It is that good.
There might still be some on Sealbach, honestly. I don't really want to like touch things on the computer.
So the proof is 103.
Yep.
5 year.
Yeah,
this is like
26 of 129.
That's like it's like that perfect range. Everything. Definitely a rye because you feel the spiciness as you have a bit more. This is so good. Of course, I would say that this is neat.
Yes.
Don't put this in a cocktail. This is so good.
Yeah, this is delicious.
I wouldn't even chill this. Like this is like neat all the way.
Yeah. So is this one of those that we don't share with family? We just
I'd be willing to share it because it's different and unique, and I would want to be like, I want you to understand what bourbon can be like, you know, like showing like other sides than what people would normally have.
Yeah.
But
so Wayne, I know you, just from what you've been saying, that you're local to Louisville. If you have not joined New Riff's Whiskey Club, do it. So they release bottles through that before anything else. That's how I got the New Riff 15-year-old bourbon, and I've gotten all their releases, special releases like the Balboa Rye, the Maltsters, everything like that. But they release that there first, and you can get it, and then you just have to drive up to the distillery, which is so terrible, and then pick your bottle up there, and then try some single barrels really cheap. And usually whatever their limited release that you pick up is, they have on the bar for like $3 a pour or something like that, and it's amazing. If you haven't been to New Riff yet and you're in the area, go to New Riff because every single barrel they currently have, they have on the bar to taste. And I think it's like maybe $2-3 a pour. So when we went up there the first time, we went through all 3 of their bourbons and all 3 of their ryes. And then we were able to pick a single barrel bourbon and a single barrel rye. And we already knew what it tastes like. And it was so much fun. So
I like James's suggestion about after 21 years for anniversary.
Go to single grain whiskeys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, we can share more about anniversary celebrations, but I had an idea, and I don't know if people would be up for this because I'm willing to do another one, but maybe there's one that people want us to try.
Okay.
So if there's any suggestions, people can let us know.
Yeah. I don't know if they can see all the crazy bottles I have, but we got a bunch.
You don't need to. If you just make sure that camera angle's down so they don't see the top shelf, then you're good.
Yeah, we got a couple up there.
Anyway, so in the meantime, then you can think about what you might want to try next.
Oh, I know what I would go with next.
So before we were doing the ages for anniversary, with the 5-year, 6-year, our 4-year anniversary, we got to have some Pappy 15.
Oh, yeah.
And ironically enough, on our anniversary that year,
it was the best anniversary gift.
It just so happened that I had just one of those feelings where I thought I might be pregnant.
Yep.
And so I kept trying to push off. And this guy over here is like, I'm driving you to Walgreens to get a pregnancy test now. And I'm like, no, we can wait. Because we had already established we were going to try the Pappy 15 for the anniversary. But he forced me to take the test. Sure enough, positive. So I found out I was pregnant. So we were celebrating not only the anniversary, but finding out that I was pregnant. And we were going to have our first child. And then he didn't let me have... Maybe I had a drop. You're like, you can let it touch your tongue, but that was it. So I didn't really get to have any Pappy 15.
Yeah, I had them poured in 2
for
glasses.
That anniversary.
And I was like, all right. And she comes out and she's like, yeah, pregnant. I was just like, whoop, awesome.
Yeah, he thinks it's hilarious.
It was. She has had the Pappy 15 since then. Just letting you know.
Yeah. Well, you can let people know. It's the Pappy 15 worth the hype. Is it a good celebratory bourbon if you can get your hands on it?
If you can get it at MSRP. So again, Chuck and I
liked it. We did review it for one of our.
Yeah. So Chuck and I have lucked out mainly because I have summers off, and anytime we've got some free time, we always just do like a Heaven Hill run and some things like that. So Chuck has an Old Fitz 16 and I have an Old Fitz 16 and 15 year decanter. And we've blinded those against the Pappy 15, and the Old Fitz 15, the Old Fitz 16, it doesn't come close. Like the Pappy 15, it's good. If you get it at MSRP, like,
at the end of the day, like, don't let people hype it up and make you feel like you need to pay more for it. It is good if you can get it, but don't go crazy.
Yeah, Wayne. What is it? Casey was asking about Smoke Wagon. So Smoke Wagon hasn't really hit the Louisville area very much, though. So there's 2 of them right now. You got Smoke Wagon, which is MGP, aged in Nevada, and it's really, really good. Chuck found a bottle in Illinois and let us try it, and it's delicious. For us here in Louisville, the one we can find is Bella Mead. And Bella Mead Cast Strength is basically the same thing, just aged in Tennessee of MGP. And They're both delicious. So depending on your area, if you can get Smoke Wagon really easy, go with Smoke Wagon. If you can get Bella Mead Cask Strength real easy, get Bella Mead Cask Strength. They taste very, very similar. I would put them on par with each other. There's not one that's really that much better than the other. And don't pay secondary to get the one you can't find, and enjoy the one you have is what I would go with. So
looks like maybe only 12 states.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. It's just not that big. So, but again, I know this, so I can tell you guys, since you're watching us again, one of my go-to is Sealbox, because they got a lot of stuff. They're getting ready to release Smoke Wagon on Sealbox. So if you're in an area you can't get it and you want to try it, Sealbox will be releasing some Smoke Wagon. If you sign up for their, I get their text alerts, which is really, really dangerous. And I get email in case I missed the text alerts. But they're getting ready to release some Smoke Wagon. Occasionally they do have the one that everybody's going after, which is the Smoke Wagon Uncut Unfiltered. But that usually sells out within like an hour or something like that. So good luck on that one. So
I haven't heard about the Smoke Wagon.
Oh, it's good. It's an MGP, so Indiana. That is they bought, and then
Is the MGP the one that's like peanut notes?
No, that's Jim Beam. MGP is Remus Repeal Reserve, George Remus. That's their brand. I'm trying to think what I have that is. Oh,
what?
I know an MGP we can do.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it violates your code that we said we couldn't do.
It's all right. Oh, top shelf. Well, it is just us.
Yes.
So
this is MGP.
Okay. Oh yeah, I remember you mentioning that. And this is one that he said it's competing for his top 5 bourbon of the year.
Yes.
Because he is keeping track to do a top 5 for 2021. And it has to be bottles bought in 2021.
Yes.
This is one of them.
Well,
and once he had it, he said it was in the top.
Yeah. Well, and the good thing about this bottle, it was an expensive bottle, but the proceeds went to
the restaurants, right?
The restaurants in the Cincinnati area for COVID. So it's a tax write-off. So there was a positive for that.
Any other benefits you can find. But it's a tax write-off, honey. Okay. It supports the local restaurants. You love independent restaurants. Yes, I do. Okay. Yeah. Didn't you get to sample it too? Isn't this one that you were just talking about?
Yeah, it was like
where
$5 on the bar.
He went to pick it up.
Yes.
But then sampled it, even though it was one you'd already purchased.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Wayne got 4 bottles of uncut, unfiltered in Arkansas. So lucky guy there. That is the best thing about, like, once you get into bourbon, traveling. So again, the great thing about doing this channel with Chuck and Brian. Brian's in Missouri, Chuck's in Illinois. So what I can get, they can't usually get. What they can get, Brian can't afford. So then we buy from him anyway. And then Chuck just can get everything. And on top of that, for his job, he travels all over, usually internationally, but because of COVID, he hasn't done that. So we're waiting for that moment, because he's going to, start going to Europe and Blanton straight from the barrel, Japan stuff. It'll be great.
Okay, so the MGP is like, how do I describe that? It's like creamy. It tastes more like rye, or am I just making that up?
No, it's a high rye.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 35% rye, 5% malted barley, and 60%
So
corn.
having it now, is it still in your top 5?
It's good.
The problem was you bought it early on in 2021, and then you got other really good bourbons since then.
Yeah.
So now you have to come back to it compared to some of these other ones you've gotten.
Well, so
the thing is, we ended on a really good one.
Well, so but that's a rye, so that doesn't get to be in our top for the bourbon category. I'm not Brian. Brian puts
he
rye
willy-nilly. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So this one, but so New Riff though is still new. So to get a 15-year, you were telling me they had to do something.
Yeah. So what a lot of distilleries do when they first start is they buy distillate from somebody else. So High West is another perfect example, and everything like that. So the difference is, so what you got two ways of doing it: the way High West is doing it, and the way New Riff did it. So what New Riff did is they bought a whole bunch of barrels from MGP, and then they started releasing it, and they released it under the OKI brand. Okay. So it was aged in Kentucky, distilled in Indiana, and loved in Ohio, I think is what it was, or thought in Ohio or something like that. So that was their model. And they released a whole bunch of those to fund their productions while they waited for their whiskey to age. Okay. Then what they did is they sold the OKI brand. So OKI is going to be coming back, but it's not any way associated with New Riff anymore. It's another group out of Cincinnati bought it, I do believe. They're out of Cincinnati, because OKI is really sought after bourbon, but it's just MGP that's been aged. For this bottle, what they did is they still have, and they say they have more of their MGP stuff just sitting there, and they want to do special stuff with it. The High West way to do it is what High West is doing is the same thing, but they're slowly blending in their own distillate and their own bourbon and rye into the MGP to slowly change the flavor profile over time. So the worst thing you can do is say, which I forget, there's one or two companies that did that, which was terrible, which is they put MGP juice in their label, and then overnight they switched. I think Smooth Ambler is the one who did it, and people just lost it. They switched to their own distillate, just went whoop. So you had like 8-9 year MGP, and you just switched in 3 year, 4 year of your stuff, and it completely changed the flavor profile. Right. And so people are used to this amazing product, and then they got probably still a good product, but so much younger, the notes all changed, and what they were used to they didn't get. So again, so what New Riff did, which I think is the best, is you just say, this isn't our stuff. We're going to use this to finance us until we can make our own stuff, and then change the label, which they changed to New Riff, and they did their own stuff, which is cool. High West is doing the second best way, I think, which is to phase it in. And so they slowly change your palate to getting used to it. Okay. And so you get used to what their stuff is. And then you've got the worst way, which is to claim it's your stuff and then just switch over to your stuff. And then everybody's
people are
like, wait, what happened?
I liked this brand. Yeah. What's wrong with you? Yeah. I could see that. So it's all about because you have to age it. So if you're just getting started, you need to have kind of something to tide you over, so to speak. Yeah, because otherwise, like from everything I've tasted, 4 years is like the minimum. Right. For bourbon. Right. Rye, like 4 years is the minimum to get an okay bourbon. Bottled and bond is kind of the exception. Really, it's hard for me to go for a bourbon that's under 4 years. As long as it says bottled and bond, which means it has to be 4 years old, I'm willing to take a chance on it, even if it's a little more expensive, because I haven't really found some terrible bottled and bonds. Right. There's a couple that are not completely in my flavor profile, but they're good. On the other hand, ryes, like this rye that we just had, at the 4 and 5 year mark, ryes can hit a premium. So that's where Peerless did really good. So Peerless released their ryes, and they won all those awards for their ryes. Yeah. Unfortunately, the problem with Peerless is it's really expensive. So. Yeah. We've talked about that before. Yeah. It's like we really like it, and we really like what they're doing with it's the like definition of craft distilling. They are all about keeping it small scale and like having those different barrels each time with all those, and like each time it comes out, they have like a different name that they associate with it for those different barrels. It stinks. Like, I hate that you're over $100. So if anyone, if Peerless is watching, can't you do anything to bring that down a little bit? We love you and love your product, but make it a little more reasonable. Because I was like talking people up at work when they were asking, like, what's your favorite? And I'm like, I love Peerless. I love the tour that they do. I love what they're doing.
Well, yeah.
And I was like, just know, like, you get it. It's a little more expensive.
So well, that's a good one though. So if you come to Louisville to do the Bourbon Trail and all the bourbon experience, which again is amazing, the two best tours, and Prescription and Wayne, because they're locals, they can agree or disagree. I think the two best tours you can do is in the Louisville area is definitely Peerless and Old Forester. Old Foe is the best because they like make a barrel, they fire the barrel right there in the distillery, which is really cool.
They've purposefully done this like mini version in the downtown Louisville location, so you can see the whole process in this in their small location here, and then you get an idea of what's going on the large scale end. But they do take you from beginning to end, everything that's happening. And
I will be the first to admit, it is very much like a tourist trap type of thing. Like
it is, but whatever.
But it's one of the
do it well, and it's like it makes me proud to live in Kentucky. Whatever.
Yeah, but it's one of the few places that you can actually like see everything. Like so, like if you go to Buffalo Trace, which isn't the hard hat tour, is amazing.
Yeah, but their tours like don't end up doing everything.
Right. Which is the great thing about Old Foe is it hits everything. And then of course you get a tasting at the end. Yeah. The other great one is the Fusion Series 4. Or do you mean Discovery 4, Casey? Because I will gladly open that Discovery 4. And then the other one is Peerless. Peerless is really cool because it does the same thing, but you get kind of the like old town, good old boy like family version with Peerless because it's a family run thing. And their master distiller Caleb is a UK chemical engineer, like right out of college. I think he's in his 30s or something like that.
Discovery and Prisoner.
Which is really cool. Like he designed the whole thing. But the cool thing about Peerless that I didn't realize is they work with Kelvin Cooperage, which is one of the barrel people. They pay $5 as a deposit, or maybe it's 50, something like that, on the barrels. But they don't ever actually buy the barrels. So Kelvin Cooperage has realized that there's more money to be made in used bourbon barrels than new bourbon barrels. So they just basically put it on loan to Peerless. They use it and then they get it back from Peerless and then they can sell it
for whatever else,
for something else and make money off that.
Which is like huge right now, like bourbon barrel for anything, beer, wine, I don't know, whatever, storage, furniture.
Yeah.
I'm
going to assume Casey meant the Discovery.
Yeah, I would assume that's Let me make sure. There's a little lingering here. We should just bring down more glasses. Have you told people that this Glencairn has the logo on it?
Yeah.
And they know how they can get a Glencairn with the E=MC² logo on it?
Yes. Our people know that we have a Patreon and they can join it.
This is a chance to make a plug for it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just enjoying it.
He's not very good at self-promotion.
Nope.
You just sneak it in. It's like a commercial.
Yeah, I guess. That's got a great nose. I really need to pick up another bottle.
Surely I've had this one before, right?
I don't know. Probably not.
I don't know. You don't share everything with. He is kind of sneaky sometimes. He pretends like, oh, everyone I've bought, I'll let you try. Like on the side, he's sipping some, holding it back, hiding it.
Yeah, that's really, really good. So the cool thing about Discovery 4 is it's all Kentucky bourbons that has been blended together. So Bardstown, they've got two lines, well, kind of three lines. They got two main lines, which is their Fusion and their Discovery. So the Fusion is their stuff with one older bourbon blended in. So that's what we tried in the beginning. The Discovery is none of their products all blended together. So this is 4. I just bought Chuck 5 and he's excited because it brings Tennessee back in. And we all know Chuck loves the Dickel. And so, yeah, it's got that. I think it's a 17-year-old Dickel on it, which is crazy. but this one just has Kentucky stuff, and it's really, really good. I'm excited during July 4th when we see them. We'll pop open that one. Maybe I'll take all the camera work up to the lake and everything like that.
You'll get
and you can
some fresh scenery out there with the lake in the background.
But if you so the discoveries were kind of always out of my price range. It takes a lot for me to spend over $100 on a bottle of bourbon because I don't want to blow my bourbon budget on one bottle. And the Discovery 4 was the first one I had to buy. It's really that good. And they just released some more at the distillery, and I was really tempted to drive down there and buy a backup bottle because this is some of the best stuff from Bardstown.
It is good. But to me, it's more muted, if that makes sense. Like nothing's really super strong. So
yeah,
for some people, it probably makes it very drinkable. This is probably a bourbon that, like, if someone's not a bourbon lover, if you gave this to them, they would probably still really like it.
Yeah, and if you just like Kentucky bourbons, like this is tried and true Kentucky bourbon. It's burnt brown sugar. It's got a little bit of the rye pepper notes on the finish. The sweetness in there. Again, like nothing overpowering. It's all just kind of melding in there. You said this is not a blend? No, it is.
Okay, I was going to say it tastes like a blend, but I thought you said that it wasn't.
Yeah, Wayne. They've got
a bottle.
What is it? The blue. Oh, the blue label. Yeah, so that is Fusion 1, 2, 3, and 4 off to the left there, Casey. So we tried Fusion 5 at the beginning, and Fusion 5 is the best of them. So the Fusion series, the cool thing about it is it kind of goes from a really young green apple grain forward note, and it's slowly transformed into a much smoother caramel vanilla forward flavor. Another, because we talked about tours, if you can do the thieving tour at Bardstown, it is really cool. So they pull 3 barrels and you get a thieve straight from the barrel and try their distillate, which they do they do contract distilling for like basically everyone. So they do it for Bourbon Pursuit with their Pursuit United. They do it for Chicken Cock. They do it for Kentucky Owl, I think. I mean, they do some for High West. They do all types of stuff at Bardstown. They actually just used a spectrometer and analyzed a bourbon from, I think, 1950, got the notes on it, and were able to replicate it pretty well. Like, it's not exactly perfect. And they're going to start this bourbon company back up using what Bardstown was able to find and everything like that. They're doing some pretty cool, but the Thieving Barrel is really cool. And now at the end of the Thieving Barrel tour, you go to their super private tasting room. And right before that is where they do the pour your own bottle. And so they ask you whatever they have. So right now, I think it's French oak finished bourbon is what they have for you to pour your own bottle. When I was there, it was delicious. The Pfeiffer Pavitt XO. So it was normally all their finished products, they age for about 18 months in the barrel. And this one, they aged for 45 months in the secondary barrel.
And Pfeiffer Pavitt, is that a used wine barrel?
Yes.
Isn't that right? I looked that up.
Yes.
Oh, that's why I liked that.
So what is it? James asked, have you ever tried a scotch with its malt only flavor and found it too much for a sugar friendly palate? So I am working on getting into scotch.
Yeah, we only tried like 3.
2. We've tried 2.
Only tried 2.
So coming up here for the channel, because how we do it with Bourbon Pursuit or with Power of Bourbon is we send each other samples. And so I want to, coming up here, send Chuck and Brian 5 samples of scotch. So 1 from each of the regions. So obviously the Islay is my Lagavulin 16, and it'll be great to watch Chuck just cry because he can't handle it because he's not a man. And then for the Space side, I've got a Longmorn 16. So I've got to get the other 3 regions coming up here. The Longmorn I love. I think it's absolutely great. My mom actually drinks Macallan 15, I think it is, and it was very sweet and good. So yeah, so I'm excited to kind of slowly get my foot into Scotch a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, like it's taken me like 2 years to really learn everything about bourbon. So I'm scared to death of picking Scotch up because it's even more complex and more to learn. But yeah, so it's one that
what we've gotten so far has been fun.
Yeah.
And interesting. So. Well, mine's empty.
I think it's your turn to pick the final bottle.
My turn to pick. Oh, do y'all want to know what my favorite is? Let's see. I have a couple of favorites. Well, probably everybody knows. Top favorite is that Booker's because that was this is entering my top favorite now. This Pursuit series.
Yeah,
I would pick that. I think it would be fun because we haven't done Castle and Key, and that's another really Kentucky.
Yeah.
Do you have enough information to share about Castle and Key?
Well, we could do that, or we could do that single barrel Starlight bourbon that you picked me up that you haven't tried yet.
Well, you, full disclosure, tasted it last night by yourself. Didn't even wait for me after I bought it for him. So
she had a friend over and they were drinking wine. So
is it? I know. And at the end of the day, I am gonna choose a wine over a bourbon. Sorry, but I enjoyed drinking bourbon with you.
Yeah.
Well, you know how much I like the Castle and Key restorations.
Yeah.
So you tasted the other one.
Oh.
I want to end on a good note, so I need something really good.
It's not my pick.
I need that finale fireworks,
Well, it's not my pick. It's on you. I'm not going to do that. I'm the husband.
How do I know?
I will do bad.
Well, this is what we're going to have to do then. We're going to have the Starlight one. And if it's good, we'll end on that. And if it's not good, then I'll just end on the restoration.
And if that's not as good as you remember, we'll just pull out the Scar barrel.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
It is right over there with the wax on top. Yep.
This one?
Yep.
You should tell them. Can you give a how to open these bottles?
Oh, gosh. If it's got wax, run it through hot water for a while because it's a pain in the butt.
Use your teeth, I think you said.
Yep.
Good luck.
Ooh, FAE01. That would have been a good one prescription. Yeah. So this is a single barrel from Starlight. It is the Distillers Club pick. So they Starlight does have a whiskey club. Unfortunately, I'm on the wait list. I'm not part of it yet, but it's 111.8 proof, aged 5 years. They had a couple extra bottles of it sitting around, and I was lucky, and she picked one up.
I saw it.
A discount on her wine.
I did get that for him.
So definitely,
he's taught me enough. I think that was always his secret motive. Is like, yes, I'll give her enough information that when she goes out and about, she can pick things up.
Well, now anytime she goes to Kroger, she stops
I'm
in
looking
the
for a
liquor store
box.
and looking for Booker's.
Looking for a box. There was nothing there on Tuesday, and I was told Tuesday's the day. So I was just disappointed. Okay.
We keep hoping. Like, again, we're going on vacation here for the next 2 weeks, and
I know it'll probably be around.
It'll probably I figure Russell's 13 and Booker's will drop.
Honestly, around here, the Booker's doesn't move that fast compared to other things. If you're being honest with yourself, like we usually see the Booker's around for a while, and what they tend to do is only put out a couple.
Yes.
And then they just replenish. So it always looks like it's going fast because there's only like 2 on the shelf.
Yes.
But then they come out and they put more. Because there have been a couple of times we go back into Kroger and we're like, we swear, like it's just 2. Yeah. No. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, and this is the year we're getting every Booker's. We're going to blind it off and decide which is the best.
I'm excited. There's something about it. I don't know why. Like it just hits that whatever flavor profile for me. I like it.
Yeah, it's your favorite.
It's up there. Are you gonna make me make a list, just like you all? We'll do a cocktail or neat.
Yeah, maybe.
Best neat options of 2021.
Well, number 1 will be your Starlight Cigar Blend. Number 2 will be one of the best Bookers.
You're giving it away. Now people are going to watch the video. That is really good. That's different.
So it's very grain forward, which is nice.
It's reminding me of Pinhook. And when we had the Pinhook, it was more like the banana.
Yes.
So I'm getting some banana on this, like banana and grain. So oaty-ness. I don't know if you're getting that.
Yeah.
Walnut.
So prescription asks if I'm thinking 4 Bookers this year. I'm hoping so. Though this new Bookers is hitting really late. And even the first one hit kind of late. So they claim that they filed with the TTP 4 batches, but they did last year too. So I'm hoping we get 4, but it's what they always do, which is if it's not ready, they're not gonna put it out there. So I'm hoping. If there was ever a year to give me 4 bottles of Bookers, we survived COVID. We deserve 4 Bookers.
I want 4.
Yeah.
Well, how many have come out so far? Just the one this
Just
year?
the one, yeah.
So they'd have to make up a lot of ground to get the other 2 out.
Mike says our bottle went out today. Sweet. I will be going to Kroger tomorrow and be like, give me my Bookers.
They already closed. Shoot. Actually, 9:45.
Yeah.
See you all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're technically out. We'll just camp out and be like, give us the Bookers. So.
Yeah. This is really good.
Yeah, it is.
Yay me. I win.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad the wife did something right when it came to bourbon.
Oh, yeah, this is great. Like, delicious.
This is really good.
Mm-hmm.
That's, wow. Yeah. Cocktail or neat choice. This would be neat.
Mm-hmm.
I like this a lot.
Yeah, I really like it's very grain forward. So you're getting a lot of the grain notes, which if you like Penelope bourbon, I think is what it is. They do a lot of grain forward stuff. A lot of the stuff coming out of Castle and Key through Pinhook is very grain forward. So if you don't like the corn notes and things like that, this isn't for you. But I do.
Oh, I
think it's very delicious. So
that's really good.
Yeah.
And this was a single barrel.
Yes.
Okay. And all right. We would not be able to get something like this again.
Well,
because we got really lucky because it was leftover from their distillers club.
So not this bottle, but they do a lot of single barrel picks at Starlight. The Huberts all kind of have like a competition.
Mm-hmm.
So the 2 brothers each pick their own, and then the dad picks his own. And then so they got 3 different ones, and then they try to see like.
I guess I haven't been following that side of it enough.
Yeah.
Just been doing too much of the one. I did almost get you, like, because I was texting him while I was there. I almost just got the bottle and bond. And it's the blue label.
Oh, yeah.
Very standard. And I was like, I know that, like, he likes just a good bottle and bond. Would that have been a good choice too?
Yeah. If there's ever a distillery you want to take a chance on, my biggest recommendation is grab a bottled and bond from their distillery, because it's got to be 4 years. It's all going to be in the same period as far as grain harvest. So it's either going to be from January to June or June to December, or I guess July to December, and everything like that. And so, like, honestly, I just go for bottled and bonds if it's a new distillery. Mike, what we are drinking is she picked up from Starlight a single barrel from those guys. So it is actually technically from their whiskey club, but they had a couple left over, so they just put it out kind of like as orphan barrels is what they call it. And so she was able to pick up a bottle of this when she was picking up her wine with her friend. I wasn't invited. It's okay because I got some bourbon.
It was ladies' day.
Yep. And so it is very good. If you haven't,
it is really good.
If you haven't done so there's 2 distilleries in Indiana that are actually doing great stuff. A lot of people don't know about. It's Starlight, and I have a bottle over there from the other one, which is called French Lick. Both are doing some pretty good stuff.
Which is funny because both started as wineries.
Yes.
Because French Lick has a winery.
Yeah. And from French Lick, what I get and I really love is their bottled and bond stuff. From Starlight, actually, I'm just now kind of getting into their bourbon. But what they do, a lot of really cool stuff is finished over at Starlight. They're willing to just like throw bourbon into whatever. And actually, I was telling Prescription earlier in the live stream here that they are releasing 3 new bottles coming up here in Saturday. So they got a rye finished in VDN barrels. They've got a one finished in like Tokyo. I don't know.
What?
Don't ask me.
Oh,
I can't. One, I'm an engineering teacher. I can't use the English language.
Pronunciation is difficult for him.
Yep. And so it's I don't know what it is. It's a.
If you would let me read it, I could.
I can probably find it here on the stream. And then they've got another one. So, but they're talking about it, and unfortunately, we're going out of town, so we won't be able to do it. Oh, well, there we go.
He logs in and he sees more stuff.
I log in on Facebook and I get that Liquor Barn and Hurstbourne, which is closed in 5 minutes, just released a couple bottles of Blue Run. So good luck. I don't think you're going to get there in time. I'm not going to get there in time. Let's see.
But the thing about Starlight, I think, is they're not just tagging along with that finished thing that you mentioned. Like, they're very good at brandies.
Yes.
So they're not trying to be like a Buffalo Trace with their bourbons. They like just being okay with the bourbon and then finishing it in a bunch of, different things. I think they're kind of in this experimental phase right now and doing a really good job with it. Obviously, this tastes delicious. But the brandy, so as we mentioned before, I got the Applejack brandy, which we've done the tastings in the tasting loft, and we both really liked the Applejack brandy. There's just something about it that's just, it's, I don't know, like the fruitiness in it, but then also like the bourbon whiskey notes that are coming in alongside of it is really good.
And for all you guys out there, just so you know, the tasting in the loft is the same for wine and whiskey. So you take your wife or your significant other that likes wine and you pay the same. And while she's drinking all the wine, you drink the whiskey. Yeah,
it's $12. Yeah. $12, which is really nothing. And it's decent pours. And they've got a lot to choose from. So you do have to kind of narrow down what you want to do. But when you go, what they tell you, the tip is what we do. One does wine, the other does the spirits, and then you can just kind of sample each other's.
Yep.
And then you hit up both. Because it is hard to choose. Because this time I was like, oh, I could do the spirits because those brandies are really good. But I do still really like their wine.
All right. So they're releasing Saturday
giving you all the
rye whiskey input. Finished in VDN, which is a Spanish orange wine barrels.
Oh.
They are doing a rye finished in rum cask, which is going to be new to their lineup. So it's going to be around more often, which is Foursquare for rum, which is a really good rum. I have Foursquare rum over there. So it's an 8-year rum from Foursquare, and then they're going to finish it in that. And then I'll let her try to say the other word, which is a Hungarian wine.
Togaji?
There you go, Togaji, why that's Hungarian.
Togaji? Finished in Hungarian dessert wine barrels.
Yes.
Well, this sounds like something I'd be interested in. It gets a unique smoothness and earthy character from the introduction of noble rot.
Yep.
Which they have to specify. It's way cooler than it sounds because it's rot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Togaji. Hungarian dessert.
I don't know. Yeah.
We're going to have to look it up. Hey, Google, what's Togaji?
Yeah, James, I agree. The bourbon FOMO is causing some crazy price hikes on a lot of stuff. The It used to be $50-$60 was standard, and now it's slowly creeping up over 100 is standard. And then places like, I know I said Blue Run, and I would love to get a bottle of theirs, but I'm not gonna lie, that's $200. So that's gonna be one of those I buy and just tell Chuck he owes me $200, and then I try,
and then
he gets the bottle. Is how those things work. So yeah, it would.
Well, he's feeding into the FOMO a little bit. Like, yeah. I'll say that for him. I mean, he's dived into this pretty deep, and wants to taste these things. So yeah, he doesn't want to miss out. So there are times when he comes home with things. I had to get this.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
But I will say, every single bottle on the shelf, all 165 of them, are open. And if
they do get open,
people come over, I gladly share them. So,
and he drinks them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they're all different, which is the cool part. Like, and she gets it because she likes wine and she likes good food. That's one of the things we do enjoy doing, is going to nice restaurants, which COVID kind of killed off. But we're getting,
it's coming back. Yeah. It's coming back.
And so, it's the same thing, which is like all the bourbons are different and you get so much distinct flavors and everything like that. I will adamantly say you have to get to that stage of your bourbon journey. And if you are just starting out on it, it's all going to taste like turpentine and ethanol and all that crazy stuff. But no, there was a time where I couldn't even handle Woodford Reserve. I still have the bottle of Woodford down there.
I don't know if we've shared this story before, but the Eagle Rare story.
Yeah. Oh, we have not shared that, actually.
Can we share it now?
But we'd have to.
I mean, there's not a whole lot to share.
Oh, no. It's
other than, like, he tried to drink it. Well,
hold on.
Backing it up a little bit.
Yeah, let's do a pour first, and we can.
Okay. What is this one?
Don't worry.
So, where we used to live in the condo down in the Highlands in Louisville, there was a liquor store across the street, and a great, like, small liquor store, great place.
Where I got my first bottle of Weller.
Right. That's special. Right. So not a lot, but like went in and started to make friends with the owner and asking some questions. So it is where he first started his bourbon journey, at this little place, and they highly recommended he get Eagle Rare. Can you imagine? Like, he's thinking, oh, okay, Eagle Rare, fine, I'll get it.
But this was back when, like,
I was just gonna say
30 bottles of Eagle Rare on the shelf.
This was 7 years ago, where Blanton's was on the shelf, as we've mentioned before, that we were like, oh, we'll just pick up a bottle of Blanton's and bring it to the father-in-law.
Yeah, the first bottle of Blanton's I bought wasn't for me; it was for my father-in-law. To just be like, here, please enjoy my company. Have this bottle.
And Dad, if you're watching, smart man, he won you over right then, right there. Yeah, but the Eagle Rare, as we tried, even though it was recommended, we were like, why did they recommend this? We did not like it at first. And part of it is getting over that high proof and that because it is a spirit, getting over the high alcohol content. And so we just weren't crazy about it. And you all out there, I want you to understand, we really didn't know anything at the time, but we had all this Eagle Rare. And I wanted to do a fun Thanksgiving for this guy. And we were going to be here in Kentucky. And I wanted to do a Kentucky themed Thanksgiving. So you know what I did? I wanted to cook with bourbon. And I chose to use the Eagle Rare to cook with. I did like a basting sauce for the turkey and something else, maybe the gravy or something. Yeah. I was cooking with the bourbon. And we chose to cook with Eagle Rare. I hope you all are cringing right now as I'm telling this story.
It gets worse.
Well, I mean, but that alone, like, people can't find Eagle Rare easily. Yeah. And we were just like, put it all in there, fill 2 cups worth and put it in. Well, we were putting it in saucepans over the stove. And over the stove, needless to say,
it caught fire.
Caught on fire.
And so me, naturally,
how do you put out flames?
Grease fire, because I was like, this is not a normal water fire. This is like a grease fire. So threw baking soda on it. Whew, got bigger. Not good. So here I am. And we lived in a condo at this time, like running through the hallway with like a flaming thing.
pot.
And like dumping it out on the driveway so it dissipates and everything like that. And then we cooked with it some more, but then we still had about half a bottle left. So this is the sad part. This is where you'll very much dislike us. Tried it because we're like, okay, we're from Kentucky, we got to start learning to like bourbon. Tried it. Oh my gosh, it was just pure alcohol, absolutely terrible, not good. We wound up like throwing out that half bottle of Eagle Rare.
Yeah, we didn't even finish the Eagle Rare.
Yeah.
And it's so sad to even say now, because I now understand Eagle Rare even better. And I'm like, no, because I also know how hard it is to get.
But that was one of the, like back then, like we didn't know any better because there was like tons of bottles.
Ridiculous though? It is ridiculous that in the time that we've been living here, because we haven't been living here that long.
No,
I've been living here 9 years. You've been living here 8.
Yes.
And then, as I mentioned, he didn't really get into bourbon until we've been living here, even a couple years after that.
Yeah.
And things used to be like readily available on shelves. And now you have lines outside, not even distilleries, liquor stores. You have lines outside liquor stores. And that blows my mind, because at liquor stores, you don't even know. Like, at least at distilleries, you know what's coming out.
Yeah.
But at the liquor store, you're doing that as a chance. Even as a chance. So people are camping out for a chance. That's crazy to me. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, whatever. He's part of it too, so.
The camping out hasn't happened as much since COVID, so.
That's true. He hasn't ever camped. He used to do a lot of the early morning, like 6 a.m. I'm going to go out there and take my lawn chair and
pre-COVID Liquor Barn
sit
was
out.
Amazing, and they'd release like Saturday, we're releasing these 6 bottles, and so you knew like I needed to get there at like 6 a.m. They open at 9. You got a good chance. If you really wanted to get like the super rare bottle, like 1 a.m. and enjoy the cold.
Yeah, but at least, I mean, I am glad to say that while my husband has his hobbies, he also understands limits, and he's not going to do anything too super crazy stupid for his hobby. Like, he still likes his bed and sleeping in, preferable climates.
Yes.
And not like outside on concrete for over 24 hours in like 20-degree weather or something stupid.
Now, I am willing to sleep out, and we're going to try to get Chuck to join, and maybe we'll do a live stream from there, because that would be amazing. Is over Labor Day weekend is when Old Foe always releases their birthday bourbon, and my birthday bourbon is getting really low, and she likes birthday bourbon, so I have permission to like camp out and try to get a bottle of birthday bourbon.
He can.
So Mike asked, so I felt I had to get into bourbon. Yes. So me getting into bourbon is actually a different story. So one of the
they were kind of like two paths that kind of converged.
So her my in-laws, her parents decided, who also watch the channel, so it'll be funny, they decided that they really wanted to do the Kentucky Derby, because now like were we married at that time, or were we still dating?
We were.
Okay, so we were
maybe
married
1 year.
Yeah, maybe 1 year into our wedding. It was very early, but they decided they wanted to do the whole
well, because it was the year after was it American Pharoah did the Triple Crown.
Yes.
And they were like, oh, we are missing out on something. There is, these beautiful horses that are racing and doing amazing things. We want to be a part of that. In that year that American Pharoah won, I think that was 2015. So I think we went 2016. Right, 2015, because they replayed it recently because they couldn't have Derby, because of COVID and all. It had beautiful weather.
Yeah.
And, the horse ended up winning the Triple Crown. And so it just looked very beautiful. And so we bought into it and we're like, we got to do this. Got to be a part of this. And so got Derby tickets the following year. And when you get Derby tickets, you get a whole package. You get the Derby and then Oaks on Saturday or Friday, and then you get Derby on Saturday.
So it was Derby 143. So I bought the Derby bottle for that year, and I forced myself every night to drink 2 fingers on just like a rocks glass of bourbon from this thing. And as
he thought the method was, I'm going to force myself to like this.
It's how I got taught how to like beer from Chuck. Chuck is the one who introduced me to beer, which was just drink beer. And eventually you'll like it, which, you know, I really like beer, even IPAs and all that crazy stuff. So I was like, oh, it's the same thing's got to work for bourbon. As you can see, I'm still not done with this bottle. But yeah, so what I would do is I would just, tater sticker, there's no, it's just the Derby sticker. So it was just
good old Woodford.
Yeah, just good old Woodford. Just sit there, and I would drink it every night. And she would laugh at me because I had the
he made the funniest faces.
Yeah, it was.
He cringed with each sip.
But when we finally got to the Derby, and I won good money on betting that day.
That was Nyquist.
Yeah,
it was Nyquist year.
Yep. I was able to drink a couple mint juleps, and then. It all went downhill from there.
I also was able to drink mint juleps, and I didn't torture myself every night with the Woodford. I just naturally liked mint juleps.
And so we slowly got into bourbon, and then the thing that finally did us in is one Thanksgiving, because they, again, pre-COVID, they used to do that. All the local liquor barns, well, a couple of them, would do Pappy raffles. And so all you did is you got there before 9 o'clock and you got a wristband, and they would randomly call out numbers. And so our Thanksgiving that we went there, or the day after Thanksgiving, we took, it was the 2 of us, it was
my
her parents and my
in-laws.
Parents.
Yeah.
Because we did a Thanksgiving here.
They were here too.
Yeah,
that's right.
Because we just bought the house. We just bought this place.
Yeah.
And so we had everybody in. Yeah. And so the liquor barn is like 4 blocks down the street. And we're like, oh, what the heck? We'll do this. And my parents don't really drink alcohol. So I was like, cool. Anything they win, they get us. And I kid you not, I won a Pappy 15. Her mom won a Pappy 15.
Your dad.
My dad won a Lot B. Her dad won a Lot B.
Yeah,
and the very last number called, because she wanted to leave, was her number, and she won an old Rip 10.
Yes.
And so what we did is, like, so you can sell things.
I was all ready to leave.
Yeah.
But think about those odds, you all. We went in a group of, let's see here, 2, 4, 6, 7, maybe. We had a group of 7, and we were 5 out of 7? 5 out of 7 odds.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
No.
We know math and statistics.
Yeah, so we were like, oh, I don't understand why.
We got super lucky.
Yeah.
Our first lottery we ever went to.
And so what we decided, because we weren't super into bourbon at that time, like we enjoyed it. And so in Louisville, there's a place called Justin's House of Bourbon. And the good thing in Kentucky is legally, there's always a secondary and all that crazy stuff, but legally, any vintage spirit you can sell to restaurants or other places. So Justin's House of Bourbon always takes stuff. And so we decided to go in the center and open the Lot B, which was probably, like, looking back at it now, was a terrible decision, because that was a low proof and we're just getting into bourbon. So naturally we'd like low proof stuff. So we were like, okay, we'll open the Lot B. If we like it, we'll keep all 3 bottles. If we don't, we'll sell the other 2 and we'll go on a wonderful vacation. Man, we opened that Lot B and it was amazing.
End of story right there.
Yep.
Yeah, it was good. And not only that, but like it sold him on bourbon. Really. Like, I just, like, there's bourbon and then there's bourbon.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. You all know what I mean when I say that. Like, there's your Woodford, and then there's these barrels from, all these different corners of different rick houses. Which, who knows what label they're under, because that's part of the thing that you like, is finding these, like, weird name, like, unknown distiller thing, but, like, you got this corner pocket here in Kentucky, where you had just the perfect weather changes to get like the most tasty bourbon out of this one barrel that's now delicious, that you can only enjoy this one time and then it's gone.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's all about the hunt.
Yes.
Really, that's what it's all about. He enjoys the hunt the most.
Yeah. That's why I also hunt and just buy for Chuck, even though I don't get the
that's why he's okay with it.
Yeah.
He has someone else's dime to do the hunt.
Yeah, actually, right now I've got a Sam Houston 15, a Barrel Batch 29.
I know we didn't tell them that was an option to try.
A Discovery number 5 and a Pursuit 44.
Chuck would not be happy with
all for Chuck, and I can't open it because you don't open another man's bourbon. At least that's what Chuck keeps telling me. So. Yeah, Mike, I am the same way. That is the best.
I love that.
Best way of saying it. I don't have a drinking problem. I have a buy-in problem. It's one of those, like, you go into.
I mean, can you see this collection? This is clearly a buy-in problem.
It's one of that. I mean, they're all different. There's so many different flavors, and they're delicious. And people that don't get into the hobby yet, or are just starting, don't completely understand it. And it's so much fun though when you got a friend come over who's like, "Oh, I like bourbon," and you just take them through the gambit, and you're like, "Oh, try this, try that, try everything," and there's just so many things.
Can we share what we're drinking?
I like it. Prescription just says, "Let Chuck open it," or let Heather open Chuck's bottles.
I'm afraid though. I am a little afraid.
Yeah,
like
Chuck's scary.
I know at the end of the day, like, who is Chuck gonna forgive? It's gonna be me over him, but I'm still a little scared. Wait, what are we drinking though? Because you said that was a mystery.
You couldn't tell?
No, it tasted similar to this one, so it was a Starlight one.
Yeah,
because it still had like that banana thing going on.
That's a cigar one.
But it doesn't taste like it did the other day. Okay, this is so weird.
Yeah.
All right. Can we tell them our original tasting notes? Did you get the same tasting notes? This tastes so different to me.
Very similar, yeah.
This tastes really different to me.
Okay, so what are you getting?
I'm not getting nearly... So the first time, I got a lot of cinnamon. And like immediately when I smelled the cigar blend, I got Cinnamon Toast Crunch was all I smelled. With the cereal and cinnamon and sweetness, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And then tasting it, it tasted like a cinnamon roll. Like my mom's homemade cinnamon rolls right out of the oven. That's what it tasted like. And it was so delicious. But after having some of these on my palate, I'm not getting nearly as much cinnamon, but I am getting like the vanilla icing.
Oh yeah.
That you would get from a cinnamon roll.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing.
Okay.
Mike, that is absolutely what I love to do. So that is on it. So we released an episode, I think Tuesday. So they had a Blanton store pick at Liquor Barn, and I passed. We actually wound up going back later and grabbing a bottle and giving it to her dad. Chuck and Brian gave me a hard time, but I'm a firm believer of, like, I have a Blanton's and I have a Blanton's backup, so I don't need a third Blanton's. Let somebody else walk into that liquor store, find a bottle of Blanton's and get excited. That's what I hope for, and everything like that. And so, but yeah, that's exactly why I have Blanton's on my shelf, is because people come in and they're like, "Oh, the pony, the grenade bottle. I want to try that." And I let them try it. And then I'm like, okay, so that's really good. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Blanton's is good. And then I'm like, here, try these other things that you can find, and they're just as good, if not better. So. So you liked it still was good? Yeah,
but it didn't taste the same, which is interesting. I don't know. It's still, yeah. It's not like I remembered it. I remembered it being like this super sweet, and this wasn't as sweet this time. Do you think because I had rye, this isn't tasting as sweet?
It could be
afterward, because rye with the spiciness, maybe that's leaving like an after effect, and so the sweetness isn't.
Well, and we've just had several, so your taste buds are going to be a little bit like shocked. Yeah. So, but we are going to have to take it to the lake and share it with your mom.
Fine. I'm willing to share. No.
All right. So thank you guys all for watching. We're going to log off here. We had a great time. If you have not hit like and subscribe, please do that. And we'd greatly appreciate that. Also, you know, maybe I'll be able to talk my wife into joining us once or twice more here in the future. And yeah, we appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
See y'all.